Hi everyone. Today I want to make a video on something that I term as retail gaslighting or online business related customer care, customer support gaslighting. And this is something I've found majorly to happen in India. In US, I had done some online sales, but most of the time the only one major retail giant that was doing a lot of online sales at that time, which was almost 10-15 years back. At that time there was only one major retail online giant which everyone knows about, a company that started with selling books first. And that company's name, I'm not going to mention any company, or at least try not to mention any companies while I'm making this video, because this is something I want people who are watching this video to comment on which company I meant when I said the largest retail provider of online products was which company I'm referring to when I referred that I lived in US 10-15 years back, and at that time I used to use this online retailer for my some online purchases. At that time, these 10-15 years back, in online purchases, most of the times either books were purchased, electronic items were purchased, and some home use items were purchased by women. And women, you have to understand, are the major target market of online retailers, because women are the ones who are usually making purchases for their family. Women are the ones who make a huge significant chunk of financial decisions for their family, because many women are also homemakers. And sometimes women, even if they are not homemakers, they are busy working professionals, or if they are single women like me, then single women are also not simply the financial decision makers, they are the major financial earners. So they have to decide where the money not only has to go in terms of looking at where the money is going, but sometimes some of these women who are educated and working and have worked in retail like me, we also understand how the business processes works in a retail company. So, having gone through this perspective of using online retail for a long number of years, over 15 years, I have used online retail in US, and for about 7-8 years, I have used same online retail businesses in India as well. And now in India, the market has grown even much more than it has grown in US, because India is one of the biggest economies of the world, and we have 1.4 billion, I think, people, right? So we make about more than 1/8 of the population of the world, right? So that means we run 1/8 of the population and economies of purchases related to any daily use item. Like India, China also runs that. Many companies and countries of Asia that are the most populated countries of the world have they run about, let's say, one fifth or one third of the global economy. So, if you don't address the concerns of people who are running this major percentage of global economy, you are doing a great disservice. But you are not simply doing a disservice to your business, and which is where in India the companies are faltering with giving and providing right customer care service, and there is huge retail gaslighting happening to customers. Because the problem with Indian businesses is that every business right now globally has this major problem that they look only at profit and loss majorly as the main decision makers for their company. No one really looks at the direction in which the future of the world is going. No one looks in the direction at which future of their own company's health is going. And many people are very quick fix oriented people, so they only fix the issue at the bare minimum and breadcrumbs level of fixing, which results in what I'm terming as this retail gaslighting, which is very similar to medical gaslighting. I've made a video on medical gaslighting based on my own personal health issues as well as work issues as a person who was working in US healthcare. Same way, someone who is a consumer and has been a consumer for my entire 20 plus years of life, that I've been earning money and living independently. So I have been the major financial decision maker of my family. So I know where the money goes, and not just the financial decision maker. I worked in retail and I was a pharmacist in a retail company in US. So I know how the computer systems can work. Even though I'm not a tech oriented person, I know how the computer systems work. I know what are the operational steps and processes that a retail business goes through when they are trying to resolve a particular customer issue. So that's why I'm able to give both the customer perspective as well as the business perspective when I'm talking about this topic. And the reason why I'm so pissed off and I'm making this video is because I'm frustrated. I have cancer going on in my body, and along with the cancer, this is additional abuse to a person who is really sick and can't handle any further stress in the physical health system. And despite that, there are all these customers care support teams of multiple online companies who sit and just pretend that every customer they are meeting is the average healthy 30-year-old 40-year-old, and because they are average healthy 30-year-old 40-year-old, they get away with any crap that they tell to their customer. So one company and I am going to mention now at least 4 online retail issues, and how the companies actually try to resolve the customer service issue without even sometimes resolving the actual issue that they should resolve, which will in the future help the companies too. But instead of looking at the bigger picture of the customer service problem that is happening with the customers, most of these customer service personnel in India have been trained to just do the bare minimal. They only know either I will approve a return and refund, or I will not approve a return and refund. That's all they do. That's all they do. And with the retail stores that are also operating on perishable goods like fruits and vegetables, some of them are so crappy, they are not even taking back the perishable goods, because once it is given to the customer, they want the customer to dispose of the product. But if you keep supplying crappy products to your customers, how much crap should a customer take from a company, and how much earth pollution should Indian government be ready to sustain when billions of customers are continuously buying products that are adding to the earth pollution? Because none of these companies care about anything except looking at their profit. They are not looking at the overall consumer impact. Also, they are not looking at when consumers are returning a product, they are not doing the right operational strategy planning to see why certain products shouldn't be stocked by them, or why certain products should be investigated a little further if they are really having long-term customer health consequences. None of these investigations are going on in India, which is a really bad thing, because these companies are now putting billions of customers, or if not billions, like in Maharashtra, I live in Navi Mumbai, and in Navi Mumbai, I'll put a screenshot also in this video, and that screenshot in the beginning of the video, where it shows that we have about 16 lakh approximately 16 lakh people living in Navi Mumbai. Of that 16 lakh, let's say even if 10% are purchasing things online. Imagine the amount of crap that Navi Mumbai municipality has to now work through when they companies are selling in these 10%. Again, if there is, and because my frustration level is high, because almost nearly every other time I'm buying something from these companies, there's something crappy that is coming into my the products that I'm getting every day, every single day in the last couple of years, ever since COVID. Because I have fallen sick from different illnesses after COVID, my body's health is such that any crappy product I consume, whether it's in the food, in the drink, in the water, in the clothing, in the makeup I'm using, in the jewelry I wear, any kind of thing that is toxic to the body, my body immediately reacts to it, because I have heightened allergies and heightened inflammation that was going on in my body. So I'm just overly sensitized right now to chemicals that are harmful for my health. So it's easier for me, like compared to if I didn't have cancer, if I didn't have allergies and inflammation, compared to me, if a normal average 40-year-old 30-year-old is buying the same product, if I am detecting some problem in 10 products, they might be able to detect a problem in one product which has the maximum some chemical pollution in it possibly, or a microbial pollution. Like say, you purchase tomato from the retail store, online retail store, and the tomato has mold or bacteria in it. If the mold and bacteria is very visible to you, 90% of the customers who are just very good cooks or who purchase these products regularly, they can look at the product in tomato and see that there is mold in it, and they will know it is a bad quality product. Now, out of the other 10% who may have heightened senses, or they just don't look at whether there is mold in the product, but they can smell also the mold in the product, or bacterial contamination or chemical contamination in a product, because we get also many other fruits and vegetables in India that get coated with all kinds of garbage to make the fruit look shiny, and they get soaked in vegetable washes. And then if you, like with lemons, I've had this problem. I've literally smelled detergents smell from the lemons, because either the lemons, while in order to make it look shiny, they have soaked it in some kind of detergent or vegetable wash solution, so that kind of smell either comes up from it, or because there is heightened water pollution on earth right now, if the water that was used for growing these lemons was toxic and had chemical contamination in them, that same chemicals are now inside the lemon also. So earlier, when earth pollution was less, and when food related manipulation by retailers and vendors was less, at that time when less manipulation was going on with the food, we had only surface level food contaminations, where the skin of the, if you could peel off the skin of a lemon, or if you peel off an apple, if you peel off the banana and eat the internal content, you will be fine. But now, or what with the vegetables, what people used to do, we soak it in water, soak it in vinegar water, wash it off, and then use it for cooking. But now, if earth pollution is high and your water that the farmer is using for growing these vegetables, or a home gardener is using for raising these vegetables, if that water is highly polluted, until the vegetable actually rots away with really bad pollution, which can happen with say 10% or 1% of the vegetables someone is growing, or crop someone is growing, when water pollution is really high. And it also happens, is to be the reason why crop failures also happen in certain areas where water pollution, earth pollution is at the heightened limits. But in the places where water earth pollution is not at heightened limits, it's at a moderate limit, yet if it has reached the extent that the plant now has no other water source except the polluted water source to take from the ground or from the rains, then the water that the plant is using to make these fruits and vegetables, many fruits and vegetables have water content in them. So that water that is inside now our fruit and vegetable, that the plant was having access to, if it is polluted water, that same polluted water is now going inside the fruit and vegetable. So your watery fruits and vegetables like tomatoes, lemons, anything that has water content, ginger, carrots, everything that has some water content in them, that water now is contaminated with the pollution of the place from where the product is coming. And now there is internal health harm and external health harm happening on earth, because the internal health harm is happening from the water source and food source and nutritional sources the plant is getting access to when it is growing and giving us these vegetables and fruits or nuts or whatever you are eating and consuming. Whatever bad products, growing elements are present for a particular plant, that will come to you. Even if you are not eating a plant, say you are a meat eater, for you now the trouble is double, because first a plant will get polluted with the water and air and other elemental pollution and environmental pollution, and that environmental pollution content will be present inside and outside of a vegetable or fruit. Then that same vegetable, fruit, grass that animal is eating, that animal now consumes that contaminated product, and then the animal now has contaminations in their body, and then that animal is also getting exposed to some environmental contaminations. It is also drinking water, breathing air, staying in the mud and grassy areas with pollution. So the animal has now double pollution. One pollution coming from the fruits and vegetables it ate, and leaves or whatever the animal eats, and the second thing is coming from outside sources. So this double pollution now, then you eat that animal, everything that was toxic that the animal got exposed to from its food and environment now goes into the human. So then how can humans stay healthy if they are continuously now eating animal products, animals or vegetable products that are constantly being subject to pollution? And then for a person like me who is consuming any of these products and then also consuming, I'm also breathing air that is polluted, or drinking water that is polluted, or having marketed drinks that are polluted with chemicals or microbes, and if I'm continuously drinking that, there is a limit to which a body can fight against any earth pollution, any environment contaminations in their body. But once a person's body has reached that limit, that is when death starts occurring. That is when illnesses and chronic long-term illnesses start occurring in the body, which earlier you could stem from by taking medicines, because at that time earth pollution was less. So if you took less some medicine and your body's polluted levels were less, that medicine was able to keep your body in a healthy status. But right now even medicines don't work, because if your body is already toxed out with multiple chemicals and microbes, the additional chemical you're taking in the form of a medicine, that medicine also acts as a toxin for you then if you're taking that medicine long term. That's why if chronic patients in US and all, when we do the patient medication therapy management, drug review and things like that, at that time you have to even check a patient who has been taking the same medicine for 10, 20, 30 years, to see whether the 20-30 years of taking a medicine has now changed and shifted in their body and is causing any side effect that it didn't used to cause previously, because 20-30 years of accumulation of the drug has now happened in your body in some level, because not 100% of a drug that you consume gets absorbed and used. Some of the drug gets absorbed and used, some of the drug gets accumulated in the body, and some of the drug gets back into the soil when you are excreting it out or you're sweating it out. So those contaminations also play a role in your overall health now, eventually in life. So this is the trajectory of food and medicine, right? Same way what is happening with food and medicine, if I'm buying now crappy food and I know this food is crappy, I am unhealthy, and not every customer in India is unhealthy, but let's say even 10% of the customers are unhealthy and they are not able to consume some of these products. If we are not unhealthy, if we are getting bad quality products from a retailer and the retailer is not taking back any of the crappy products that they are selling to us, what is a customer doing? Some of it is getting accumulated in our house for a while, but eventually after 2-3 years, if it is perishable goods, within a couple of days or a week you have to throw it away. And if it is a garbage product, if it is a moldy product, if it is a chemical laced product, it should ideally, it has to just simply be thrown away. If any other human also consumes it, they will fall sick. So the best thing is to just throw it in the trash. But there are so many poor people in India, sometimes the poor people end up consuming, then you are ending up with a poor health containing poor population. Also there is also a poor health containing normal population is also happening, because if company doesn't check that the quality of products that they are stocking in their stores, when to like there is LIFO, FIFO, all these policies that companies should be doing. Like if you have bought something before everything else, you should sell it first, especially, and if something is expiring, you need to sell it first. But you also, if it is a perishable good, if it is just a medicine or if it is just a cloth product or something, you can do LIFO, FIFO and do discounts and all that with non-perishable items or items that are selling a little less than other items. But if customers in retail industries and the operational team, the retail team, the customer support team, none of them take the right feedback, which is the problem with Indian customer care, Indian consumer care, Indian retail operations, Indian way of doing business. They do not understand that if your product is not selling, why is it not selling? That critical thinking no one is doing. And not just earlier, it was still avoidable, like some businesses were just simply going into loss and that's it. They don't do the critical analysis. They buy here, say, there's a small business, it buys and starts a business for using 1 lakh, 10 lakh rupees or whatever, small or medium scale business. After having borrowed the 1 lakh or 10 lakh to start a business, whatever level business it was, because I have not run a business in India, so I don't know how much people use to fund their businesses, but this is all a approximate numbering that I'm giving, because this is in general what people will do. If you have 1 lakh, you'll start a business with 1 lakh. If you have 10 lakhs, you might start a business with 10 lakhs. If you don't have this money, you'll borrow it from someone or the bank. So after you have borrowed it, taken the money, invested your own money, started a business, after doing that, what is happening? After doing that, you run a business, you see there is a food business here, I'll start my food business. There's a clothing business here, I'll start my clothing business. No one is doing the critical analysis that people do in business schools, the SWOT analysis. No one is doing. Actually, SWOT analysis is just the previous thing you have to do before you start the business. But after you have already started the business also, and even if you've run the business for 10 years, sometimes you need to do this critical analysis of where the business is going and heading. And no one in these online business retails that I have worked with as a customer, from the customer end, I'm seeing they never resolve the customer issue. They hardly resolve the customer issue. The maximum resolution they give to the customer is giving them back a refund, but they are not doing the internal thought processes, internal dialogues between customer support team and other teams do not happen. No one does the right customer feedback related analysis of what is going wrong with the products customers want refund on. Why are customers wanting a refund on a particular product? No one does that analysis. No one does the analysis that if there is critically a particular store that is always, or a particular location of a particular place, if they're all, like say it is a online retail giant which has like say 10 locations in Navi Mumbai, from which 10 different wholesale places are providing the goods to the customer. So they do the home delivery of these goods from one particular wholesale location, right? The online business is a retail business. Online retail or wholesale, I am not going to go into the terminologies about these things, but mainly it is coming from a particular place. Now from where it is coming, if it is within say a 5-mile radius of my home, one particular place stocks all the goods that the company's most common customers are buying from them, and those goods they continue to sell from that particular location and deliver from that location. Now anyone who is even operating these locational, I don't know whether you will call them wholesaler or retailer, whatever the terminology is used, I don't know, because I have not been working for the last many years, so I do not look at the legal terms or the technical terms, but understand there is a location. From that location my product is being delivered to my home. In that location, whoever is the operations manager, whoever is the business head, whoever is supposed to coordinate about purchases and sales of their items, whoever is supposed to manage these sales, they do not have someone sane or stable or and with a good business sense who are operating these places, and neither are the customer support people have any clue about how retail business operations are run. Because every time I talk to a retail business related operational issue as well as a customer specific issue, because customer specific and operations issue are always interconnected, but somehow in Indian customer service and customer assistant team, people who pick up the phone call, all they are interested in is resolving the monetary aspect of a customer's claim. They do not delve deeply into anything. Any of these could be major health hazards for customers, any of these could be major finance hazards hazards for customers. It could be a finance, health and operations hazard for the company itself. And finally, there is also because they keep selling crappy products, there are many customers. I am refusing to buy a product because I am not working right now. I need to save the money. I need to refund products. I do not want to hold garbage in my home. So I am always trying to insist that you take back the product that you're selling. But perishable goods, they never take back from the customers. Two companies have done this. They do not take back the perishable goods that they are selling online. Other two competitors of this particular area who do online retail business, one is so crappy a company, that company I would suggest customers to not even purchase from them anymore. And you tell me which are these companies. The two companies who do take back sometimes refund. One of the companies is very good with giving you refunds, and initially they were not taking back the non-perishable goods, but slowly they have started taking the non-perishable goods. Tell me which company it is that is doing this online business in Navi Mumbai area. Second company is doing online business. They do online delivery of many products, but food related, grocery related products. They also provide home goods related products also in their website. But one of their home goods products that I recently bought a set of bed sheets. Now that bedsheet set had strong chemical smell on it. As soon as I touched, it said it online it is saying it's a cotton product. Online there is a particular image given, but the product that was delivered just matched in color. The online product was blue and white in color. This was blue and white, but it didn't match the shade, it didn't match the print, it didn't even match the fact that the online thing is saying it's a cotton product, but the one that I got at home, it may have cotton in it, but it had mixed cotton plus synthetic elements to it. And then if I am touching the product, there was some chemical sprayed on that product that is so toxic. As soon as I touch it and smell it, I can tell it is some kind of either pesticide that was smelled on it, sprayed on it, or some other cloth, fabric. I don't know what else people could have sprayed on it, but it was highly toxic. And this company, second company, every time, 2 times I have now faced some customer support issues with them. Both times they refuse to give you the refund. It is very difficult to get a refund from this company for any products you buy from them. They are still better. This is the second company. They are still slightly better than the other company. But this company and the third company I will mention next. But this company will have like waste customers time for 15 minutes simply to get the customer to agree to not get a refund from them. Like if I didn't insist, like the first 5 minutes or 2 minutes that the chatbot takes, then next few minutes the person, a real customer service person takes, and all they say is we can't refund for this product, blah blah blah. They don't care that this cotton product, first of all, it is not matching the description. So there is, you are doing customer fraud if you are not matching, nothing related to the description is matching, or if it is only 1% matching, is it fraud or is it real thing? So Indian government needs to either change the laws, Indian legal system, justice system, cops, something needs to happen to change this entire way retail operations are being operated, because eventually the Indian government only will have to face the repercussions of it. Because this bedsheet that I bought, I insisted I wanted returned. I then mentioned the same things that I'm mentioning in this video to them in my messaging, and they do not take up a phone call also. So you have to write and message them. Sometimes when you're writing, there will be typos also happening while you're writing something to them. So with typo ridden messages, I send something to them, and in that messaging system, I'm telling them that this has some faulty problems in it. It is not a cotton product. The print is not matching. The product has some sticky residue on it, and if you don't take back, first of all, they were refusing to take back. But the second thing is, if they finally took it back after my insistence, and telling that this is a major problem if this same level product is sold to other hundreds of customers or lakhs of customers of this Navi Mumbai area. What is happening? The chemicals sprayed on these bed sheets. Now if an elderly or really sick person or a small baby gets to sleep on a bed with this bed sheet and with these pillow covers, anyone who is in a critical health status, when you sleep on a bed sheet spread with these kind of toxic chemicals, anyone with cancer, organ damage, or hidden undetected health issues can easily have a allergic response, a heightened allergic response, a heightened organ system collapse related response to these chemicals, because many of these chemicals are highly toxic to consumers. And they did give me a refund, but after that, even though I did insist that you have not resolved my customer support issue, you need to escalate this to your other teams, because if you do not recall these products, like in US, when you are giving a toxic medicine, when you there's this case of Tylenol that happened in US. It was a liquid Tylenol, I believe, that this happened with. They found that the liquid Tylenol was contaminated. It was a fever product like Crocin we have in India. It was a product equivalent to Crocin, but it was in the liquid form, I believe, and they had to recall that product eventually because it was highly poisonous to anyone who is consuming that product, because there was some contamination in their manufacturing processes or some process downstream there in their sales or whatever operational process. Now I don't know the details of what happened behind in the company's flow of operations, or whether they did the right investigation to figure out where this product or how this product got contaminated. But the fact that they have been selling products with contaminations made the company who was responsible about customer care, who was responsible about public health, recall back the product. And by law, you are supposed to do it. It is also true of Indian products. Only thing is, in India, no one is recalling back bad products, bad quality products. Or even if I am insisting you have to do this, I have not seen in the news that bed sheets were recalled by this consumer. So that is very bad if you are not doing it. Like, say it is XYZ online retail, and say, if 100 customers are saying there is something, or even 10 customers are saying, or even 5 customers are saying there is some chemical contamination in this bedsheet that you have sold us, they should investigate and try to recall back all the products they have sold to the customers. Because if it is a highly toxic induced product, it is got a public health harm and risk involved in it, which comes under the government's regulations and other things. Right? This is also a problem with not simply the clothing products. Clothing was very easy to talk about, and finally she took that product. But I have bought like multiple drinks and food products from all these online retail stores, and I don't know how to refund or ask for refund and get the money back from these customers also. And if I directly contact one of the consumers, one of the companies had contacted 4 years back, even then that company never recalled that product, and even now their product still continues to have that original chemical contamination that I found in that product. That chemical contamination problem has been resolved, but other alternate chemical contaminations are still continuing with that company's products. So there's no consumer recall of mass scale sold products, and these are all big retailers, big companies selling lakhs to lakhs or crores or billions of customers. Daily or in a whole year, the number of sales a particular company like this is doing will amount to a huge chunk of the economy. So you will cause the economy to crash eventually if you don't do the right business operational procedures, because right now it is all ha ha he he and it's fine, it's going like this. But the customer, like I am protesting this, if I fall sick and if I suddenly die now, who are you going to sell after eating and consuming your garbage products, after wearing the garbage clothes and bed sheets and sleeping on it? If I die, if the future generation dies, if the elderly people die, who is going to buy your crappy products? So do you need to stem the problem zone before someone dies, or do you need to keep selling it to customers even if 10 customers have complained to you that your product is crappy and there is a potential health risk in it? None of them are investigating their health risk, or even if they investigate their health risk, none of them hold themselves accountable for or think that they should have a consciousness to do a mass scale product recall. And this mass scale product recall, why is it necessary? Say these products are coming from a particular factory in Bangalore. Let's assume Bangalore, because in Navi Mumbai many products come from Bangalore, so that's why saying Bangalore. It could be any other part of the country also. It could come from Gujarat, it could come from West Bengal, it could come from outside India as well, China, many places it could come from, right? But let's assume Bangalore being the closest place and a mill from where lots of cotton products come. Let's assume this is coming from Bangalore. Now, if they don't do the recall, if they don't do the analysis, first if they don't do the recall, they will not understand how many of the products have got contaminated, right? If they, after doing the recall, if they don't understand, say, you know, they have manufactured it and there were 10 manufacturing facilities from which they were sourcing this product. Now, out of those 10 facilities, which facility is giving you this crappy product? Do you need to investigate or not investigate? If you have not set up only the retail operations processes to do these investigations, are you doing a great disservice to your own company and customers, or what are you doing? Do you, as a human also, do you have a consciousness when customers are getting poisoned, people are dying? Should human life have some value, or should they not have any value? Because these are all toxic and dangerous products. I found pesticides in drinks. I found high level of pesticides inside the fruits and vegetables that we are buying, or the nuts we are buying. Earlier in the nuts, if you bite a nut in the like, you know, a peanut is something all Indians consume. So earlier the peanuts that we used to get in India, if you bite one peanut, there used to be maybe like 1 millimeter of some toxin sometimes in out of hundreds of peanuts. But nowadays the problem has escalated such, instead of 1 millimeter of toxin in peanut, whole peanuts are sometimes toxic. Whole batch of bag of peanuts are sometimes that highly toxic, because they are being processed in ways that promote toxicity, or they are being grown in environments where heightened chemical toxins are present, or it's a combination thing. I can go into the detail of the whole retail chain, supply chain processes, because I understand this, but consumers will get confused. But many consumers must have already seen this. And if you're falling sick, should the retail companies be held responsible for your sickness also, if they are selling you sick products that will make you sick? Or what? Are they deliberately making you sick? And government needs to investigate all these things. Are the people who are selling toxic crappy products, are they selling it deliberately so that people get sick? It can come under domestic terrorism. It can come under international terrorism. It can come under deliberate poisoning of someone and simple medical negligence. It can come under ethical related guidelines. It can come under so many, and financial also. You are taking something from a customer. Does a customer, when a customer is paying you 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, whatever you are paying them for one product or 10 product, you are paying someone something. Are you just paying for any crappy product, or is there a standard that the customer is paying for? And if that standard is not getting maintained, who should look into the regulations of this? Who should look into whether the product was deliberately tampered? Because right now, if no one does the right investigation, you will not understand if, say, you know, out of 10 factories that this chadar could have come from, the bedsheet could have come from, contaminated bedsheet. If it is a factory related problem, then that factory, if you investigate and you figure out of the 10 factories from where this is coming, based on the batch number, product, whatever identification numbers are there, that's why products have identification numbers also, barcodes also, so many things to identify. If not that, you have invoices from the company, so an auditor might have to sit and do this. But there are so many groups of people who need to investigate this within a company only to figure out why something is going wrong. But if they completely ignore the customer complaint, are they ever going to figure out the large scale problem that is brewing within the company? And if someone is wanting to do domestic terrorism, can they easily see this company doesn't care about the customer, I will continue to give them a low invoice or something and vendor. So, you know, if they are selling me 1,000 rupee bed sheet, from that 1,000 rupees bed sheet, whichever vendor is supplying it to them at 500 rupees, they will take it from them without checking the quality of the product, without checking whether it's actually cotton, without checking if it matches the descriptions. Nothing they are checking. They are just looking at the profit. I'm making 500 rupees profit. it, I will take it from this manufacturer. Now if that manufacturer has some contacts who's involved in terrorism, or if the manufacturer is really poor and that company is employees are right now too tired, too sick, too weak to observe operationally what is going wrong in their processes, any outsider can come and see these people who are smart. And I'm talking about all these things because even though it sounds like scientific fiction, it is not scientific fiction. This is the reality of Indians, where many Indians are not realizing, and not just Indians, this is the reality of global citizens. If you do not ask for the right product to come to you, and if you're not insisting, these companies are not caring only what is going on within their company. And this problem has been going on since Johnson & Johnson days, Nestle days, even the Johnson & Johnson, Nestle, Tylenol and this was like 10-20 years back problems. Some of these problems that happened in India or globally were 10-20 years problems, and in those 10-20 years very few companies are responsible enough to recall back products which are not good for consumption, and which, if there is a health hazard involved, very few companies do these due diligence of investigation to ensure that their company is not at fault while supplying something harmful to a customer. But if they are not taking the responsibility only, are you only supposed to buy from X person and sell it to Z customer? Is that all a company is supposed to do? Then I might as well buy from X person. Isn't that why all these other cut out the retailer, let's directly buy from the wholesaler, let's directly buy from the farmer? Why is that coming up so much in India and other places? Because because your retailer is not doing the responsible job. The reason why there was a retailer was the retailer would responsibly take charge that from the farmer what they are getting is good quality product, from the manufacturer what they are getting, it's a good quality product. The retailer's markup price is not simply a markup for the retailer to make billions of dollars or rupees of profit. It is also in that billions of dollars and rupees of profit. From that profit you have to do the right quality control check, right product control check, understand the retail operations in such a way that when you are supplying something to the customer, if it is not up to the standards that should be given to humans for consumption, then it needs to be returned back to the wholesaler. You have to, because this is how that is why retailers were there. They will do the checkup, because the consumer can also do a checkup. The consumer like me now has no other choice except to either grow my own vegetables, buy my own food, go and find the most expensive maybe farmer or most expensive clothes manufacturer, but someone who is providing to me a clean, pure, chemical free, toxin free, ethical product. A person like me will go there only because that is the last option left for a person like me to do, or I will die. These are my only two alternatives left, and I'm not being melodramatic at all. This is the reality. If I continue consuming pesticide filled drinks and food, pesticides that cause cancer, that are escalating the cancer inside my body, pesticides that can cause organ damage, pesticides that can also cause this heightened stress response, because I'm speaking in a very agitated and heightened way. Part of it is my excitement on this topic, but the second aspect is I have high level of stress from continuously consuming pesticides and chemicals that are harmful to my health. So my stress response proteins are high right now inside my body, because of which anytime and some of these pesticides can also cause your brain neurochemicals to also stay longer inside in the nerve terminals, causing a anxious response or excited response or angry response from someone who has consumed enough of these pesticides for them to show this response. Now in the same locality, if there are 10 people who are also buying from this same retailer, all those 10 people, if I have cancer plus other organ damages plus many years of accumulation of this toxin in my body, I will have maybe the most heightened anxiety. But another human being who has consumed less of these products, or their body is healthy enough that it didn't accumulate as much of these toxins, they will still speak excitedly maybe, but if I'm speaking 10 times in an excited manner, they might be speaking one time in an excited manner. And there could be another person who has even greater level of these toxins from these consumed products in their body, even worse health than mine. They could have an angry response then. So all these things, when customers are talking to you, should a anxious customer, insistent customer, or a angry customer only get the right customer service from you, and you haven't even given the right customer service? This company, I don't know whether they investigated this whole bedsheet related fiasco, and today there is another fiasco which was related to I didn't even order a particular product. So say I have ordered, and I usually order 5 to 10 products from this company. Let's say these 5 to 10 products I ordered from them, I'm ordering every other day or every day from them sometimes. Whatever products I'm ordering from them regularly. Now, these products that I ordered from them regularly, I know what products I'm ordering from them. I know what products I don't want to order because I might have some issues using those products. So like that, a watermelon got bought. Suddenly it is showing up in my list of ordered items. While ordering, what I do, most of us do this, I don't think any of us are reviewing our order. So if we are tick mark 10 products, we see, okay, these 5-10 products I need, I have ordered it. I tick mark those products in the list of when I'm searching for it. I search it, add it, then I pay for it. I usually never go through if I have ordered 5 items, whether all 5 items are there, or if, will you think like I have ordered 5 items, should there be a 6th item there? No, none of us are thinking like that, but that is what happened with me. I have ordered X number of items, but X plus 1 item showed up at my door. And on my list it is showing X plus 1 item. In order to get that 1 item returned, which I didn't order, which I don't have any tools to use that fruit, I said I don't want to use that fruit, I want you to take it back. They're not ready to take it back. First they were not ready to refund me, then they're not ready to take it back, then they're not ready to also, I said you should investigate this. What if your account is hacked? That, or you are doing some operational glitch, that a product that is not getting sold so easily by you, you are just adding it to a customer's baggage. If you are doing this unethical practice, should someone investigate whether they are doing this unethical practice? If they are not doing this unethical, I didn't accuse them of the unethical practice because I won't accuse of them if other people don't complain that they have faced the same issue with some online retailers. So please drop a comment if this has happened to you, that you have bought 10 products and but 10 plus 1 showed up and the company is saying it's there in your list of ordered items, so we won't take the refund. I kept insisting, you're not taking the refund, you're not addressing my customer issue. I had to 15-20 minutes I had to spend on chatting with them. Then finally they were like, okay, I will refund it for you. And in that chat I mentioned that you're not ready to investigate whether it is a hacking of your app, because if it's a hacking of the app, that means that hacking can happen to anyone else. If it happens to anyone else also who is a customer in this area, now if 15 lakh people are your potential customers, of them say 2-3 lakhs are buying from you regularly, are you impacting that many customers? Then whatever is the percentage, if 2 lakhs 3 lakhs also is too much, 20,000 people are only ordering, whatever it is, it's a huge, 20,000 is also as huge a number in India as 2 lakhs, as 2 crores. But whatever scale of people you are supplying a product to, and if there is a glitch happening, if it is a tech glitch, do you need to fix the tech glitch? If this is a product glitch, do you need to fix the product glitch? Some of these companies who don't take back products which are perishable, what they are adding to say you are giving me a refund, they're not looking at the internal inventory management system also, because this inventory management system glitch I have faced when I worked in US retail. Like when I'm returning certain products, it doesn't automatically sometimes get added or deducted because those products were critical products, they had to be entered by hand. So likewise here, I don't know if they have that kind of a system, but there are a lot of tech related problems that they do. And then what happens is, some of these retailers, when they send you, like say you buy 1 kg of mangoes, they will sometimes, if you have seen with some of these retailers, they will send you an extra like 2-3 rupees charge for some extra, or 10 rupees charge for some extra mango that they sent you. They are saying, and none of us have weighing machine in our house, very few people have a weighing machine that they will take and check that if I have ordered 1 kg mango, if they have given me 1.1 kg, that's why they are charging me for the 0.1 kg extra. I don't check it. But this is where again they might be potentially doing unethical practices. Why? Because say they sold you a mango and they sold you 10 mangoes, and out of the 10 mangoes, now the 10 mangoes were rotten, they refunded you for the 10 mangoes, but for the 10 mangoes what they have refunded you, their system has given you the money and they've not taken back these 10 mangoes. So in their system there are 10 less mangoes. Now they have to account for the money for those 10 less mangoes, and they are accounting for the money by distributing it on other customers and making 100 customers pay for these 10 mangoes. This is what their tech system is doing, that I could guarantee tell that is happening. But these kind of small unethical practices that these companies are doing, these need to be checked, because how long should a customer carries their lack of capacity to do their operational job in the right way? Because what will be the right way to do this business? If 10 mangoes have been returned by customers, the right way is first you take back the 10 crappy mangoes. Then understand why these mangoes are getting returned. Why are they crappy? Is it bacteria in them? Are they making people sick? Is there food coloring in it that is making people sick? Is it a combination of chemicals in them that people are not liking? That's why, or is it a rotten mango that I'm getting from a particular person? So should you do that due diligence and analysis to save yourself from future loss, or should you just ignore that a customer is just doing chow chow and customer is only complaining to me and being agitated, or messaging me 10 times that I want refund. If a customer says 10 times they want refund, I will give you refund. If a customer sits with me for 15 minutes, then I'll give you refund. But if a customer says okay, thank you, fine, we can't refund you, and they are also, because many a times they've done this and I agreed and I let it go. But now I can't let it go, because every time, how much crap should I store in my house, throw away in the garbage? How many products should I throw away? And my health is not at the level where health is not at the right level, financial health is not at the right level that I can continue to spend hundreds and thousands of rupees on crappy products. Even if I was the richest person on India, right now I am at such a frustration level. I want the whole business operations to change in the right way for everyone, not simply for me. That's why I'm making this post. Then these are the first two companies that are doing this. They still, if you insist, they will sometimes give you the refund. Majority products they'll give you the refund, but they are still not doing. I understand from the consumer communication itself, because if you are good at intuition, you will understand when people are listening to you and are going to do something proactive about it, and when people don't actually listen, they are just taking it as someone is complaining and my job is only to give them refund or not give them refund. Many people work at this bare minimum level in companies. So this thing also, this company attitude of work ethics, there's some work ethics problem going on in India, in Indian retails. I have found this majorly, but Indian companies also could be having these problems. I don't know, but I find many people very callous, having poor work ethics. Having worked in US, this pains me, because in US I was never that kind of a worker who doesn't care about the customer. If the customer's issue is not getting resolved the right way, it pains me. But there are many people who are apathetic to their customer care related work, and they just simply care that I have been trained by my boss to say these standard replies. Can I help you? I'm so sorry you're feeling this. These are the 10 standard replies that they will send it. But none of those standard replies actually address these quality related issues, company website getting hacked related issues, issues where unethical practices are going on. For the unethical practices, government and legal systems have to get involved, or financial systems have to get involved. For cyber crime related people have to get involved. For terrorism related activities, terrorism related people have to get involved, because these are all these multiple aspects that are going on at the same time, and right now it has reached a height of multiple things going on at the same time. It's not that none of these were absent from Indian market in the last 10-20 years. They were all present, but in minor level, because how does a terrorist work? A terrorist will first anyone who has some mental illness problem or social illness problem or hatred related problem, this is the mentality, antisocial personality related problem. These kind of people operate at this level. They'll first test the waters, like, and even if you have a naughty child in your home, you know a naughty child also does that, because it's the extended version of a naughty child that causes a person, a naughty child, an impertinent child, a child who doesn't want to listen to parents. These kind of children are the future adults who do not care and have any ethics or morals about the responsibility of what work they do. They are just callous and caring only about their selfish needs and about gaining money any way possible. Or someone who is absolutely destitute level poor, but the destitute level poor is only getting manipulated to do some work where they get more money. The person who's not destitute level poor, they are also brainy, or if it's and or because brains are irrespective of whether you are poor or rich. A person who's poor can also have sharp brains, a person who's rich can also have sharp brains. So then it comes to the personality traits and ethics and morals related choices, and people who are have zero accountability for harming another. They don't have any accountability in the harm they are propagating, or they don't have any accountability of the work they are doing that will in future harm their own company's health only. If I continue, like now 4 competitors are there. If from my experience of this video a 5th competitor wants to now come up in the same area, they can learn from these 4 companies if these 4 companies don't learn from themselves. So now the 3rd company, that is the crappiest company I found out of all the 4, and in this 3rd company's problem is they don't even refund anything. They have no refund policy. So buying from them means if they give you good product, you're fine. But if they give you bad quality product, and they did send bad quality product, I bought ice creams from them with paint residues in them. Those ice creams are still in the fridge, some of them, and some of the ice creams I threw away because I bit into it. There was paint residue, chemical, food coloring related contamination, whatever crap they had, I had to throw away some of the ice creams. Some of the ice creams are still there in the fridge. I can, if I was not sick and I am scientifically that much capable of understanding which scientific methods can be used by the FDA or a chemical work related, analysis related analytical company, if they do a certain set of tests, they can easily find out what crap was there in this food that I am buying. Anyone can do it. Anyone can go online and find these companies who do these testing of these products. But the thing is, how much should common people do the testing? Newspapers like Times of India and other online journalism people, they have already investigated crap in our food powders. They've already investigated crap in protein supplements, healthcare supplements. Despite that, nothing has shifted, nothing is changing. People are continuing to consume these products that are making them sicker. How much? And there has to be a risk benefit analysis the government also has to take, the consumers also have to take. How much crap are you going to consume? Because crap, if you've consumed multiple levels of toxins from 10 products that you eat daily, and from those 10 products that you have eaten, and not just eaten, now though the contamination is happening in clothes also, in the bed sheets also. So something that you're wearing, something you're eating, something you're spraying on your body, every kind of these products are filled with crap. And when you're say out of the 100 products you're consuming monthly, out of those 100, if only one was contaminated, it would take you 10 years to fall sick. But now if out of 150 products are contaminated, will your sickness happen sooner? Is sickness happening sooner? Did young people for 40 years of age die this year or during COVID, and in the past few years have young healthy looking people like me, have they died from cancer and other diseases like COVID? Why are we dying from these diseases? Because our body can't take the level of toxins present in our food, water, clothing, air, everything. And everything needs to change, everything needs a haul. And the company that doesn't even return product, they have zero accountability. That company is zero accountable company. They're not even taking, tracking what crappy products they are selling. Then not only they're taking accountability for the products they are selling, they're not even willing to refund for the crappy products they have sold. All they want is money from you. Should you go and buy from that company retailer at all, or should you close down that retailer if they have zero accountability? And even the banks, should the banks be funding, or the angel investors or anyone, venture capitalists, should they be funding such unethical companies? Should people look into these things as well? What is the ethics of the practices that these people are doing? Because these people could be, they have come up with a competitor for online retailers. They asked some venture capitalists to, they showed like India or Navi Mumbai has 15%, 15 lakhs of target market, of that 1 lakh. I know all the business jargon that I can speak. I will not speak it because I have not spoken it in 10 years. But having gone to a business school, I know the business school jargon. Or if you watch Shark Tank, many of the people who watch Shark Tank, they can also understand business school jargon. But you can, so I can have 15% of this target market can be my main customers, and from them they will make they are making millions of rupees from me, or thousands of rupees from me and other 15 lakh people from this area. But after making that money, all they are doing is they have sold a scrap. And who is now going to, what happened to the crap I bought from them? It's either staying in this fridge, some of it went in my stomach, some of it went in the garbage, and 1-2 products were okay products. The okay products I have consumed completely. The garbage products, part of it went into my stomach when I consumed it unknowingly, part of it went into the garbage. But from the garbage, where it is going? It is going in Navi Mumbai soil. If it is not going in soil, if enough, like if 15 lakh people send you every day, if I have bought 10 garbage products today and every single Navi Mumbaikar throws that one bin of garbage that I bought from a retailer into the garbage today itself, if today every Navi Mumbaikar throws that garbage, imagine the pile of garbage that will be landing in our dumpster in Navi Mumbai. And in that dumpster, now if that pile of of 15 lakh people's scrap lands in the dumpster, it doesn't land because Indians are very conservative people. We don't overspend, we spend as much as necessary. Many Indians, there are some Indians who have gone into the over consumerism thing, but most Indians do not over consume. We buy as much as we need, most of us. Those who are, say, the 90% of Navi Mumbaikars buy only as much as they need, and of that 90%, still if 50% of your products are crappy, eventually you have to throw the crap. We are living in these small sized homes. Where are you going to store the crap also? So you have to throw the crap. The reason why these stores don't take the crappy mangoes, crappy fruits and vegetables is because they don't have a place to store them. But if you don't have a place to store them, if you don't have a way to track them, why are you selling these products? Let the street vendors sell it to us. A street vendor, bhaiya, at least if I go and tell him you gave me crappy lemons, next day out of retaining your customer service, they will give you a free lemon. Or they will take back the crappy lemon, throw it. Remember that I shouldn't buy these kind of crappy lemons from my vendor. A street person knows how to manage his business, because for him it is a daily wage. He's a daily wage worker. Being a daily wage worker, he is more responsible about the crap that he will sell to someone than, this is what I feel. Some street vendors are more responsible in selling good products than some high market retail online business, millions of dollars and rupees doing businesses are caring about their customers. So who should you buy from? Shouldn't you buy from the direct farmer or the small retailer who is getting something from the farmer and then selling it to you? But they can also only sell a good product to us if our streets are clean. They are only able to sell good products to us where, when they are selling on the streets, it is free of earth pollution, air pollution, water pollution. And if the farmer who is raising the product is selling free earth pollution free products, then they are also selling, they are actually the cleanest place where Indian government, if they set the right policies, the small market vendors can have quickly the quickest resolution to selling clean products to their customers. Whereas these big retail brick and mortar stores, because they are not doing the long term analysis, detailed analysis, in-depth analysis, like the greater the number of consumers they have, greater is their responsibility towards their customers. But many people do not understand this responsibility, are not taking this responsibility seriously. They have hired crappy people who do not understand what is responsibility. All these people I see in the retail stores, that's the same mentality where these phone call customer support people are. In the retail stores, if you go in these big malls, 10 or 15 stores if you go to, out of those 15, 20, I have in my mall there are more than 15 stores, but I might have entered about 10 stores in that mall. I haven't entered all the stores, but in those 10 stores also that I have entered in the last 5-6 years, whenever this mall came up, I have forgotten, but I have been frequenting this mall, say, in the last 6 years. In the last 6 years, the 10 stores I have gone to, out of that, 50% or 60% of the stores have people who don't care about the work they do. They're just sitting. If you ask them, I want this product, they'll take 10, 20, 30, 40, half an hour to find that product. They have a problem saying no in the right way. Indians, this is the problem of customer support, customer care, customer assistance personnel and retail workers in India. They have not been trained what is right customer service. They have not been trained what is care. Their whole home life also doesn't have care. That's why also they are doing this. Possibly, I don't know, my home life also didn't have care, but I still learned about customer care, customer support, customer service simply because I care about human beings. So if someone is asking, I want X product, if I don't have it, I will tell I don't have it. If I can get it for them, I'll tell I'll get it for them. If I can't get it for them, I will still, or I don't have it, my online thing also says it is not there. In US, we will even go out of the way to ask our competitors, do you have it? Can I exchange it with you? For medicines, we have done this because medicines are critical. But same way, food is also critical for some human beings. Good quality food is even more critical for every human being. If you don't consume good quality food and clothing, you are invariably daily using that clothing contaminated with some chemical that is harmful for you. So if a baby is sleeping in that bed sheet that wasn't recalled by this company or its manufacturers, that baby who unknowingly, if I have a good sense of touch, good sense of smell, my body is in weakened state, that's why I know what is harmful for my skin. But that mother didn't know. She was a new mom, frustrated mom, frazzled mom. She's laying her baby down on a bed with sprayed with this contamination, and that baby every day is absorbing toxin after toxin. Every day it's lying on the bed, it's absorbing the toxin, and one fine day, after having absorbed enough amounts of toxin, if after 10 days of being born it continues to absorb that toxin from that bedsheet and one fine day dies, who is responsible for it? Should the company have that responsibility or not? And you can track it that their product did it. If that product that was contaminated with X toxin is also found in the baby's blood, then are they responsible or not responsible? Especially if that product is a very unique product that no other toxin, that toxin is not present in any other similar level bed sheets in the market. Then that bedsheet is only responsible if the baby only slept in that one particular bedsheet for 10 days before it died. Is that bedsheet responsible or not? This is something hospitals also need to look into, because hospital linen, hospital water supply, hospital food supply have also caused many deaths in India. People do not do the due diligence, and because people are not aware only the degree of earth pollution, water pollution that is going on earth. That's why and the longer people take to fail to investigate, the longer a company fails to investigate, the longer one particular person fails to investigate, it all adds up. Like how there is a butterfly effect of good things that can spread a large audience, there's a butterfly effect of bad things also that adds up and piles up, leading to disasters like infant deaths, sudden deaths of people, allergic response related deaths, poisoning related deaths. And now the police also has to figure out, if the police gets involved, they have to figure out, was it a deliberate contamination the mother did, or was it the manufacturer that did it, from where the mother didn't know that they are buying a crappy product. And then there will be also unethical people and mentally ill people who will listen to this video and they will deliberately go and buy the product from such a harmful place if they are unethically wanting to kill someone, if they have murderous intentions in them. That's why I'm not revealing the products from where the companies from where I got these products. But if you know which companies are doing these things, which companies do not return your products, write it down. I want to know, because there are many. I also bought online some gummy bears and vitamins for my hair and good skin health and all that. At that time, because I'm not getting good fruits, good vegetables, good food, I was like, I still need some nutritional supplements. So I wanted to try out some vitamin supplements. I tried out some vitamin gummies from a market store in a different place I was visiting few years back. Their gummies were really good quality. Now this was an international German company saying they are selling vegan and ethical and toxin free products, but every single item that they sent me, it wasn't vegan. Some of them was smelling of because it was like a iron containing product. So iron can come from I don't know from which vegan sources iron can come from. I'm not remembering right now. Maybe possibly some nuts it can come from, or certain fruits it can come from. But iron majorly, usually if someone wants to supplement you with iron, most companies might supplement it from animal protein sources, animal sources. So I could literally smell blood in the iron product and knew that it was an animal source. Then there was another product they sold that had heightened, even though online the description says it's vegan, toxin free, blah blah blah, but the coloring agent itself is highly toxic coloring agent. If I consume that, after consuming that, my stomach was aching. I knew that there was something wrong with it. I tried to ask for refund of the unopened ones, and asked, like, for these are the opened ones, these are the unopened products, can you give me the refund for it? They again do not have a policy of refund, and I spent thousands of rupees buying these gummy proteins from them. So should these unethical practices of companies who are failing to take, and they are like, our product description says that it's vegan. Just because your product description says it's vegan doesn't make the product actually vegan if the vendor who is processing it and manufacturing it doesn't follow the vegan techniques. Or if you are not the one who is selling us contaminated product, there is someone else in the downstream process of your supply chain who is doing something. Do you need to investigate the ethics and legal challenges related to marketing and other things involved in your supply chain? Do you need to do the right investigation, or am I supposed to do it for you as a customer? And you're not even addressing the customer concern that your company name is being used to poison other people. So should I continue to tell, do not buy this product from this company, or should I stop speaking and not mention which company is selling me poisonous products? If I am vegetarian or vegan and I am eating non-vegetarian food, should I be outraged? Are you also in US and all? Companies get sued for, there was a company that got sued for they had a person who newly joined the company. That person, after newly joining the company, he wanted a closet space out of the way so that no one else can see what he's doing. He just wanted a corner closet space to pray for his namaz, and that person got fired immediately. They couldn't provide him that place for him to pray. So he filed a class action, he filed a suit against discrimination. He won the discrimination, and he won the discrimination to that much amount that small business company or tech company, whatever company it was, it went out of business from one person's discrimination case. In India, there are 15 million people, 15 lakh people in Navi Mumbai who are suffering. These businesses, do they need to continue practicing, or do they need to go out of business in India? So should Indian government do something if a company is failing to take accountability for selling crappy products, or if their labels are being used to sell crappy products, if they are not doing the right due diligence? Why are just because we are 15 million people or 1 plus 1.5 billion people, they can sell to anyone anything and make millions and millions of profit from us without any accountability? Why are you getting that profit from us? Where does the profit get used? It doesn't simply get used for paying your employees, paying the people who are manufacturing this product for us. There is more to running a business. This is where the problem is. There's always more to running a business, doing any work that you do, be it paid work, unpaid work. There's always more involved. And a good quality person, good quality company, a company that should be selling to people, and the company that shouldn't be selling to people, the discernment is this. The company that has no accountability for crap that they are selling, they need to shut down, because that crap that I have bought from this company that I am not using because it's toxic to me, and I do not want to consume iron products coming from animal sources, and I do not eat non-veg food. Why will I eat iron now which is tasting of non-veg? I have eaten non-veg in the past, that's why I know the smell of non-veg. But even though I have consumed non-veg in the past, and now I don't want to consume non-veg, and they are promoting that they are selling a vegan product which is one level up above the non-veg product, then also they're giving one level down below what is expected of them, 2 levels below what is expected of them, and they're not ready to accept that something could have gone wrong in their manufacturing process, sales process, and the customer may not be lying. Multiple customers might be facing this issue. When will they resolve this issue? Why are they selling to millions of customers if they can't even resolve such a simple issue of making sure that what you're claiming is being sold to the customer? If that simplest thing you can't resolve, right? And this garbage now that is accumulating in my home, I have to throw it away eventually. And in some of these, it is not simply a question of vegan, non-vegan. The non-vegan, the iron which is of animal source can be eaten by someone who is non-vegetarian. They can possibly consume it. But any of the products which have chemical contaminations in them based on food coloring, which can have health harming impact, food coloring or any other ingredient related harmful things, because these were gummies which were really bad, and they gave me a stomach ache because they had high level of some other toxin also possibly inside them that can actually impact your stomach and cause. They had like these, how if you are using Fevicol for craft purposes, Fevicol is a sticky thing. It will stick on your hands and it will cause your hands to get sticky, right? Now the gummy vitamins usually have a gelatinous component to them and they should be sticky, but this was more sticky or more sticking together than if it was simply gelatin used for making these gummies. So it was not simply gelatin, it has, other than gelatin, possibly actually glue like components in them, which if you consume glue filled food and your stomach now completely gets blocked by consuming this food, are you now going to go get hospitalized for operations and sometimes also might even end up dying? So this company, if anyone has faced something like this where their family died after consuming gummy vitamins or from some particular company that is failing to refund you, should you now also investigate them? Should the government also investigate them for potentially causing a chronic health harm in a patient? Should the customers sue them? Should the laws be there in our country for allowing patients to sue these people who are operating in a way where if consumers consume this crap product, they are putting their health at risk. If they don't consume it and throw it away, some poor person's health might go into risk. If the poor person also doesn't use it and throws away, or if we directly throw away in the trash, the municipality now has this garbage of toxins that they have to dispose of. Our earth doesn't have enough space for 1.5 billion Indians. We live in 20, 30, 40 high story buildings because our earth on India, our land on India doesn't have enough space for humans. So you think we have space for each human's 100,000s of garbages that we have bought, that no one is ready to take back, that people are continuing to produce without any accountability? That level garbage that every Indian is consuming, which is all now going where? Into our dumpster. And from the dumpster, because there is 1.5 billion Indians in India, they have to burn it sometimes in certain places where the garbage has accumulated too much. But when you're burning now a toxic product, will the toxic fumes again make us sicker? So are these companies responsible for causing a sick earth, sick population of a particular area, or are they should be held free of any accountability for the garbage they are continuing to supply to people? So should this be looked after? And this is the third company. Then there's the fourth company, which is one of the major retailers of India, and that fourth company also, again, because it's a large retailer, large company, sometimes the customer service personnel take longer time to get in touch with you. They are usually polite about returning and refunding the product, but again, because it's the largest retailer of India, one of the largest retailers of the globe, and there are few such large retailers of the globe which also do businesses in India, do these retailers have to have some responsibility about the end use of the garbage products they sell to customers? There's a reason why in Japan is not one of the largest countries of the world, but it was one of a densely populated country of Asia. So because it was one densely populated country of Asia, Japanese have learnt this, that why quality is important, why efficiency, and the Six Sigma processing system that Japanese use, that is a tech term they are using for operational functionality related issues. But Six Sigma doesn't simply mean that you do efficient product delivery to someone, which is what most operations people think. Six Sigma means you just deliver a efficient product. No, Japanese also used to give us high quality products. That's why they were more appreciated. I don't know currently whether Japanese products are the most highest quality products in the world, but they used to have that ethics, that level of work efficiency, that level of work. Their working system was that level that they were always conscientious about giving you a good quality product. That good quality product that Japanese have tried to give to the world, if other people in the world do not understand why it is bad to continue giving bad quality, see, human error can happen. That's why only it is okay when occasionally you give a bad product to them, someone. If out of 100 products, one product is bad, or in a whole year of supply of thousands and lakhs of rupees that I've spent in a company, if they are giving me only 100 rupee worth of bad product, it can still be okay. And if it is a minor microscopic product that if I throw, it is not going to add to earth pollution, but you are adding to body pollution, health harm, earth pollution, government pollution, you are adding to the pain and suffering of the poor people who have nowhere to go, who live on the streets, who have no other water to consume, no other land to live on, no other food to consume except the crappiest products and foods that are there in the market. And then the richer people who can afford better quality products, if the richer people do not protest about it, if the richer people are just simply making money off all the poor and poor people and average not money seeking people's misery, they can continue making the money, but again the crap is still existing on earth. That crap doesn't go away, and if the crap doesn't go away, the burning of the crap, the eating of the crap, the wearing of the crap eventually will kill the poor people only. Then where will the rich go? Who are they going to get the money from? So do you understand? If there are 1.5 billion Indians or 1.4 billion Indians, from them you can make 1.4 billion or more profits also. That profit has zero meaning if after making that profit you fed them enough garbage that tomorrow they are going to die. You will not even know. In COVID many people died. Then also you have still not understood from why people are dying from COVID. In COVID also many people died from these crappy product usages only. Many people, that crappy products are also part of the health harm that was going on in a person's life. That's why people need to address this. People need to wake up to what is harming their health. People need to start saying no to these, and governments need to start creating better policy so that this crap doesn't keep accumulating constantly in our homes, in our body, on our earth. And earth cannot sustain it, because the final alternative that is present if earth continues on this trajectory is the thing that is happening globally when tsunamis happen, when tornadoes happen, when earthquake happens. Because any place where the toxin level has reached a particular limit that is not sustainable anymore for mother earth to take, that is where natural calamities start unfolding. It is a very logical, natural step of the process that happens to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth has a limit. Like our body has a limit. Our body, if the crap tolerance and toxin, first I am agitated. I'm speaking about it. But after speaking also, if nothing gets resolved, and I continue eating, consuming, wearing these toxic products, and only 50% of the crap that I could send back or say no to. But there are still 50% of the products, of which 10-20% products I have had some toxins in them, and I kept consuming because I have no other choice. After consuming continuously like that, one day my body will give up. How much ever medicine I take, if the limit of the body has been reached that it can't pull it anymore, it will die. So my body will die. Same way with the plants. Right now, lemon plant, lemon tree might be giving us those lemons which have some pesticides in them, some chemicals in them, some microbes in them, that they are still sustaining for a few more years. But eventually, if that no one realizes, no farmer realizes, no gardener realizes, no person who consumes the food realizes that there is this problem going on with this lemon from this particular tree and from this particular garden or farm, no one realizes it, no one is ready to work through it, no one is ready to resolve the problems. The hundreds of humans who consume that same farm's product, same gardener's product, they will eventually be slowly dying only, and some will die 10 years later after consuming a toxic lemon. Some will continuously the same kind of toxic lemon that's coming from a particular garden or a farm, and some other person might die 20, 30, 40 years later, depending on how robust you were, how much of a toxin you consumed, how bad your health was, right? So different people will die at different time points. But after everyone everyone dies, before everyone dies also, the plants can die, and that is how drought also occurs in the world. Drought occurs, plague occurs, all these natural calamities occur in any place where the earth's ecosystem is so distorted that human life can't be sustainable. Animal, plant, other lives also is not sustainable. So mother nature decides that it's best to end this. It's a very, and mother nature gives warning signals when a place is going to now have a natural calamity. Long before it place happens, shows the natural calamity, even 5 years before, 4 years before, 2 years before, it is showing slowly by climate changes, by how poor the health of the plants and animals in the area are getting, how the newborn babies are now having malfunctions, genetic problems, how people are diseasing and aging in that area. All these are indicators of how bad the nature related elements that should support our health are getting toxed out by human activities. So that's why human activities that are not sustainable, that are not anymore good for earthly life, where it is completely unsustainable, or 90% of the population is doing unsustainable or health harming practices, that's where the most natural calamities, the most diseases, the most disasters unfold in those places, cities, organizations, and even companies. So I want companies, I want governments to look into this. I want normal people from Navi Mumbai to comment out of the 4 retailers that I mentioned, if they can figure out which are these retailers. I mentioned more than 4, but the 4 online retailers that supply us food and clothing and other things, regular grocery items. You tell me which are the 4 retailers I mentioned, or can you distinguish between these retailers? And if what do you think is the solution? Do you want to continue consuming crap, or have you had it, and should policies and other things need to change, not simply at the government level, at a personal level also? Because if you are having frustration with a particular company's products, if you are working in a competitor company, do you also have to have the responsibility to ensure that the same problem that is happening in company X doesn't happen in your own company Y? If you are suffering from a health issue, your mother is suffering from a health issue, and you realize that it's the from some of these educational videos that it's the ABC product from particular company that was causing your mother's illness, and you may not be working for ABC company, but you are working for DEF company. So should you, working with DEF company, ensure that your DEF company doesn't also continue producing the same kind of ABC crappy product that is harming your mother's health? Or should you only invest in paying for your mother's sickness and that's it? That won't resolve her issue if she is at the point of dying. That may resolve her issue temporarily for 5 years, 10 years, but chronically long term it will not resolve her issue. Not only it will not resolve her issue, if that same illness strikes another member of the family another 10-20 years later, it will again by then in another 10-20 years, the butterfly effect of other health problems would be impacting the health of the other person. And you might, for the second person in your family who's dying from another illness, maybe your company was producing that DEF product. Now that DEF product that your company is producing is what your second person needs to be healthy, but the DEF you have not taken, you didn't learn from ABC's processes, didn't learn how ABC is harming everyone. Your company is also following that company and harming everyone, making DEF in the same way as ABC. So do you understand why doing the scrutiny, the right analysis, understanding where the things are going wrong, why someone speaking up when things are going wrong, all are necessary aspects. And after someone has spoken up where things are going wrong, if no one investigates it, someone speaking up has no value. And after investigating, if you do not have the skill sets and people in your company to even understand the depth of reasoning skills, analytical skills, strategy skills, operational skills needed to process these companies, you cannot hire these people in important positions. And if you have not taught also people at the basic level also who are just entering your company, just being introduced in your company, you don't give them the right training to understand. People need to understand, right? What is danger, what is not danger, what is harmful, what is not harmful, what is a product that needs to be recalled, what is a product that a customer is simply just just asking. But even if there is a product that a customer is just asking because the customer is a difficult customer, out of if you have 15 lakhs of customer base, every 15 lakh customers, invariably 15,000 customers will face the same issue that this customer is talking about. India is a country where if companies want to do business, you have to understand that problem is at a scale level, large scale level in countries like India. The more densely populated a country, the more dense is the problem actually, and the more efforts you have to take to resolve it in the right way, because it is a mass scale blow up otherwise. In US, that's why some of these similar customer service tropes are spun by US customer service people as well. But in US, the US has 1/5 the population of India. US is larger in size than India. So US still has lots of land area where crap can accumulate for a while without it impacting US life right now. Doesn't mean it will not impact US life also eventually. Eventually in 10-20 years, the same crap that is impacting India now, China now, will impact US also. But if US doesn't understand, US people are also buying products from us, selling products from to us. Crappy products are coming from other import-export of other countries. So each country that fails to resolve it the right way adds to the overall global problem related to this. Local problem as well as global problem. So if people have any other questions, please drop me a comment. It's a long video, but this is a major critical issue, and it's a issue of combination of things. So I hope what the message I was trying to say through this video is clear, and if people have questions, please drop me a comment, and I would love to hear from people's own personal experiences with retail stores, both online and offline stores, because if maybe enough people talk about it, then finally the government can take the right steps towards resolving this in the right meaningful ways. And again, thank you for listening. Have a good day.